pipes around the windows. Yeah, it's great. All that water gushing up through the plug hole. Water gushing up through the plug hole. That's a bit strange. You found the buildings and there's water gushing up. Can't say it. Gushing up through my plug hole. And they say, there was one house where we got the pipes mixed up. We're waiting for it to rain to find out which one it was. Thanks a lot for that. That's wonderful, isn't it? Oh dear. Anyway, when it rains, it really rains. In fact, it makes the sinking of the Titanic look like a picnic. And talking of food, well, it's just that I have to make these links. So talking of food, something else that we might not have expected when we came to Spain. Or, I tell you what, we probably had this idea and it didn't quite work out. Now, I'm not looking at anyone in particular, because in fact I can't see you very well, so don't worry, you're hidden here. But that Mediterranean diet and that outdoor life that you thought, oh yes, I'm going to really, lose weight and look healthy, didn't exactly work according to plan, did it? For some of us. So I thought it would be a good idea to analyse the Mediterranean diet, because it's probably not our fault, it's probably the diet's fault. So let's have a look at the Mediterranean diet, shall we, and see what we can find out. Okay, first of all, breakfast. What would be a good Mediterranean breakfast, do you think? Somebody just said cornflakes. I mean, this is what I'm working with here. Cornflakes. Good dear. Can we have another attempt, please? Slightly better than cornflakes. We're getting a bit nearer the truth here. Well, I think a good Mediterranean diet starts with fresh orange juice and toast and a croissant and a bit of coffee, yeah? Followed by egg and bacon. Hash browns, fried eggs, fried bread, sausages, black pudding, feeling sick already, and streaky bacon. 2 gin and tonics and a woodbine. You see, you don't need me. You do not need me. They can fill in all the answers for you. You do realise, of course, that that's what the Spanish think that we eat all day. Because there's all these signs that says, full English breakfast all day. I mean, when I lived in Britain, everybody ate muesli. What's happened to muesli? Or is that something to do with the bathroom and the walls? I'm not asking about that. I'm not asking about that. Anyway, so that's breakfast. Now then, what happens at lunchtime? Well, as English as we obviously are at breakfast time, we all go very Espanol at lunchtime, don't we? And you know why, don't you? Because you've all discovered the menu of the day. You don't know any sort. I mean, I should rephrase that. You may not know very much about Spain or Spanish, but you've discovered the menu of the day. Why? Because it's cheap. I told you you didn't need me. You can finish all the lines of this whole thing. Yep, you get first course, second course, bread, wine, pudding, all for a bargain price. Fantastic, isn't it? But there's one thing about the menu of the day that I think you don't realise. Shall I tell you what it is? It's meant for working people. Not you lot. You're supposed to have been slaving away in the fields all morning, not staggering over from the breakfast bar. Then we while away the afternoon, don't we, with a little gin and tonic here and a woodbine there and a little bit of beer there. Now, we're on a limited budget, some of us. Where would be a good place for supper, do you think? Come on, you're going to say it. Come on, say it. The Chinese. The fact that you see me in there quite often is quite relevant, quite relevant. Yeah, where I go at $4.95 for a whole meal. It's fantastic, isn't it? It's a real bargain. Now, the Chinese. The Chinese are very courteous people. They are, aren't they? And after your meal, they say, you like some schnapps? And they're expecting you to say, oh yes, just a little, that would be nice. They're not expecting you to go, right, I'll have that one, that one, that one, that one, that one, that one. And spend another hour and a half polishing off 6 bottles of the stuff. I mean, you only paid £3 for the whole meal, for God's sake. Mind you, there's another thing about Chinese restaurants I like, and that is, if you're feeling lonely, they can make you feel really happy because you pretend it's your birthday every time you go. As they say, happy birthday, and you fill in your own name, it's Everson. Yes. Anyway, so this is possibly the key to why our diets may not have worked as well as we intended. Now, if you combine this with the seductive way that some of us dress, and you know, some people do have a slightly odd appearance. Nobody here, I'm talking about other people. But one day I was looking at some people and I thought, do you know, somebody came to me. I thought, they all look like giant primary school children. But if you think about it, you see, because we've got like little chubby legs and little chubby tummies, you know, like little kiddies, little chubby arms. And then the little boys, they've got little shirts, and they're tucked into little shorts, and then the little socks and shoes, you know, little chubby knees. And then the little girls, we've got little blouses, short sleeves, elasticated skirts, you know, to grow into. That's the way your mum sent you to school. Big knickers, and what's the difference? Now, I don't know whether you had the sort of childhood I did. Probably not, but... oh dear, excuse me, I've got a really funny throat. I'm doing my best. But when I was a little girl, you know, like children nowadays, they're encouraged to grow up like young, aren't they? Too young, often, the little ones. Well, when we were children, we weren't encouraged to grow up at all. You weren't growing up as like a nuisance. You know, you're not growing up. You grow up. So, I don't know if you had this experience, but when I started growing up, started to develop boobs, my mother said, no, you're still a child. You know, so I was all self-conscious. You know, I was all around like covering myself up, you know. And then eventually she'd look at me and she'd go, oh, well, all right then, you can have a bra if you have to, you know, that sort of thing. But the thing is that now, instead of being self-conscious, we walk around like that out of choice. I mean, you see some sights, don't you? Sort of nipples bouncing up. Some go that way, some go that way. It's quite an education, really. And that's just the men. And then people go on like a day trip somewhere, Spanish, and they go and they say, do you know, we went into that shop and they guessed that we were English. It must have been that rubbish Spanish that Jane Cronin taught us. Anyway, we have to face the facts. Fat is fat, however you have it. If it's all like trussed up or flowing free, you know, all sort of bundled up or whatever you do with it, it's there. It's, you know, some people have ways of changing their clothing, you know, to suit. And some people can do it quite flatteringly. I mean, for example, there are these dresses. I saw a woman the other day. She got this dress, and it was sort of gathered around the hips, and the material kind of cascaded down. It was very flattering. But then when I looked closely, every cascade was filled with a layer of And then there's this man I know. Now, he hasn't got a waist. Well, that's not so unusual, but he doesn't know where to put the belt of his trousers. And it's really strange. I think his wife dresses him before they go out, because he always turns up somewhere looking more or less normal, you know. But then he kind of stands up, sits down, goes to look, and then he kind of loses the plot. The only way he knows where his belt should go is where the bottoms of his trousers are in relation to the floor. So sometimes they're sort of flapping around his shins, other times they're sort of dragging across the floor. I feel like going up to him with a felt tip pen and drawing a belt and saying, look, it goes there. Or perhaps they should sell shirts with a plimsoll line around it, you know. Well, anyway, there are some people who actually do make a considerable effort to keep themselves looking attractive, well-dressed and elegant. And I think that some of us could learn some lessons from some of those people. Now, the other day I was at the hairdresser's and I overheard a conversation. And as luck would have it, I had my video camera with me and I was able to record it. So we're going to show you this conversation in the hairdresser, a very elegant lady. Now, some of you might recognise her, some of you might not, but I can assure you You have all met her before.
I really want to buy a boob tube, you know.
Do ya?
Yeah, but I can't find one that suits me though.
Oh, yeah.
You do know what I mean by a boob tube, don't you? Like this one here in the magazine.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, I know it wouldn't exactly look like that on me, but that's the idea. Something easy, you know.
Yeah, I know what you mean.
So you don't have to think about what you're wearing all the time.
Yeah. Do you do much shopping in Spain?
No, not really. I can't find anything that looks right on me. I think that Spanish women must be a really funny shape or something.
Do ya?
And the sizes all over the place. I tried something on the other day, and it was an XXL, and it was too small for me.
Was it?
Yeah, my size 10 at the most, you know.
Well, that's what I heard. Because XXXXL, that's size 10. XXL, that's size 8.
Exactly. We think it means extra large, but obviously means something completely different in Spanish. When I go to a shop, I like finding something that fits me exactly. I don't want to mess around having things altered. No, but do you think I can find anything? I know I'm not as young as I used to be, but I still have an hourglass figure. I think that Spanish women, once they get married, just let themselves go. Yeah, but they've got absolutely no sense of style whatsoever.
Mind you, if you get a boob tube, what sort of bra would you wear?
You don't need a bra with a boob tube, dear. That's the whole point.
Don't you?
No, that is another point, though. Finding a bra to fit me. I'm a triple X, you know.
Oh,
Yeah, you wouldn't think so, would you? I hide it really well.
yeah.
And they're all my own as well.
Are they?
None of those silicon chip plants. Mind you, you couldn't have those now when I was young. You got what you were given and you were grateful.
What's that?
I've always been very lucky with my figure, though, I'm glad to say. Never given any cause for complaint. Been married 3 times.
Have you? You've been divorced 3 times.
No, dear, widowed twice. The first husband couldn't get up.
You mean you couldn't get it up?
No, he couldn't get up. I flanged him.
Oh.
Yes, and the second husband disappeared altogether.
Oh, no, that's awful.
Yeah, couldn't find him for hours. By the time they got him, it was too late. He'd suffocated.
What happened to your third husband?
Well, he's still around. I find him very controlled, though, so I don't always tell him where I am. If it was up to him, I'd be in a little glass showcase, just there to be looked at. I've always known he doesn't really love me for who I am. He only wants me to look at.
Does he? Why did you marry him then?
Well, you know, he flattered me so much. He brought me so many beautiful clothes. I was like his little rag baby doll.
Oh, was that?
Yes, still am. Even after all this time, he loves to dress me. He chose this outfit for me, actually.
Oh, it's
Stunning, yes, I know. Everybody tells me. They say, Ethel, how can you look like that? They're all jealous of me, you know.
Are they? Where did you get it from?
Car boot sale, dear. Real shame that they're closing them down now, you know. There's some really good things in them, you know, good British makes. I think that's something we can really give back to the Spanish.
What's that?
A sense of style and fashion.
To be elegant, didn't she, I thought. But of course, some of us, we might ease a little bit too much because of stress. Anybody here stressed? No, nobody ever admits to being stressed, no. But there is a lot of stress around here, you know, I know that because there's so many therapists. Have you noticed how many therapists there are? Yeah, it's physiotherapists and massage therapists and hypnotherapists and psychotherapists. In fact, I did think of being a therapist myself, but I got too stressed trying to work out which one, so I didn't bother. No, but if you're not stressed, I can always give you some. Would you like some stress? Go on, you could do with a bit of stress. For example, you can take any subject you like. For example, communication. Now that's stressful, isn't it? because you move to Spain and you find that you haven't got a telephone line. So you go, oh no, then you think, oh I know, I've got a mobile phone, that's all right. Then you find out you've got to unblock it, whatever that means, so you unblock it. Then you find you haven't got any coverage. The only way that you can talk to your family is standing out in the middle of the street and shouting, which isn't ideal, especially when there are cement mixers trundling past and angle grinders and whatever. Anyway, after months and months of stress and hassle, you finally get your landline. And then you think, oh, I could have a computer. So you get a computer. And it doesn't work, because they don't, do they? And then you phone the computer man, you say, my computer's not working. He says, have you switched it on? Yes, I've switched it on. Well, switch it off and switch it on. Why do they always say that to you? I don't know. And then your neighbours look and they go, oh, they've got a phone line, they've got a computer. Perhaps they'd like to be the president of the community. So they come and ask you, and you say, oh, that's a nice idea. I can help people, I can meet people. Oh, I'm so flattered to be asked. And then you think, oh, if I'm going to be the president of the community, I will need a doorbell. Now that was a really good idea. 11 o'clock at night, ding dong, 4 o'clock in the morning, ding dong, somebody here going, I remember when you told me, I thought, oh dear. Ding dong, problems. Problems with the ornamental lighting, problems with the path, problems with the flower bed, problems with the swimming pool, problems with the houses, problems with the neighbours. And then they start bringing the brochure around and showing it to you. Now it's your fault it doesn't look like the brochure. Problems. And then you think, oh no, it's okay, because in about 3 months' time it's the AGM and I can resign. So you go along to the AGM, all ready to resign, and what happens? Nobody else wants the job. How surprising. So in the end, they vote in some poor chap who lives in Lapland, who's never there. He can only pick himself out of the ice once a year in August. But of course he's not there. So everybody goes to you because you were last year's president. And you know what to do, don't you? And they say, you see that young family over there that were here on holiday? Yeah? Their baby's just pooed in the swimming pool. What are you going to do about it? I don't know what to do about it. Well, you better do something because we all might die of some terrible disease and it'll be your fault. You're feeling more stressed now? Well, anyway, there is actually one other tremendous cause of stress, and that is something that we all suffer from. Now, let me ask you, did they tell you that this was the healthiest place in the world? Well, it was, until the cement mixers got here. And now, there's a layer of dust that lies across the place. It comes in at night. Sometimes it's red. Sometimes it's yellow, sometimes it's brown, and it settles on everything in its path. And it drives you mad, doesn't it? In fact, it drives you so mad that I thought I would sing you a little song to soothe your nerves with this awful cause of stress. Oh, here he is there. So, what are you up to these days?
Oh, well, now it's really interesting. I've become a property manager now.
You're a property manager?
Yes, property management.
So what exactly is a property manager?
Well, that means you give me your keys, basically. I can look after your property for you.
Oh, and what do you do?
I give you peace of mind. I can water your aspidistras, maybe put your cat out at night, that sort of thing,
Okay, so you want me to give you my keys?
Yes, please, yeah.
Okay. There you
That's
go.
€50, please.
50 euros?
Yes, for holding on to your keys and giving you the peace of mind.
But 50 euros? You better do a bit more than that 50 euros.
Yeah.
Do you clean dust by any chance?
Oh, it's a bit too technical for me, I'm afraid. So.
I'll have the keys back if you don't mind. Go on, get on with
I
your
tried.
Anybody else? Ceiling for you.
You might reduce it to 40 for you lot.
Thanks a lot.
It comes in through the windows, it comes in through the doors. Dust is all around me, it comes in on the rain. And when I start to clean it, it just comes back again, and again, and again, and again. I don't mind cleaning, I really don't. But there are times when I just can't cope. No brooms will shift it, no hose, no mops. It just goes on, it never stops. I see this dust before me as I lie on my bed. To thinking, maybe it's in my head. I bought a special duster with microfiber threads. I need someone beside me before I dust the shed and the bench and the gate and the flowers. I don't mind cleaning, I really don't. But there are times when I just can't cope. No brooms will shift it, no hose, no mops. It just goes on, it never stops. I go out on the streets, I see it on my car. Take it to be cleaned, it only lasts an hour. It comes in on the wind, it's everywhere, I maneuver. So, if you want to help me, please come round with a hoover.
Oh, I'm sorry, ladies and gentlemen. Looks like Jane is overcome with stress and emotion with us. I think we're going to take a short break. Have a drink in the foyer. We'll see you back here in 20 minutes. Thank you very much. Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. Took a nice little break in the foyer. Excellent. Listen, we've got 5 minutes just before we get going again. So what I thought I'd like to do is introduce you to the benefits of living in a finca. Who's interested? A finca is a beautiful, traditionally built home set in the heart of real Spain. Now it's traditionally built, as you can see, it's stone built here, it's got its own sun terrace and sun porch. That's beautiful. Can you imagine yourself living there, sir? Yes, I thought so. It's got 3 double bedrooms, ensuite facilities and fitted wardrobes. Has recently been redecorated with glass curtains and a conservatory. Has stunning panoramic views of the countryside, only 5 minutes from the beach by supersonic jet. And it has its own carport. So I will have details of this stunning finca in the foyer later on if you'd like any more details. Happy to do inspection visits and everything. Oh, sorry, I bet see you later. Yeah.
Doesn't give up, does it? Incredible. You've got to hand it to them in a way, haven't you? Mind you, you have to feel sorry for him because he has fallen on rather bad times recently. I know. Rather like, in fact, the people in this song. Have you seen the agent driving clients like a madman, speeding down the road to win or lose another sale? In his eyes you see no fear, mobile phone pressed to his ear. 10 more hours of work today, he can't afford to fail. So how can you say that you're not okay, and say for you that the sun don't shine? Let me take you by the hand along the streets of Little England. I'll show you someone who's fucked up more than you. Have you seen the old bloke in the Elvis Presley costume, singing in the ghetto to a crowd of drunken lads? Wig board at a discount store, hits one decent note in 4. Elvis at his very worst was never quite that bad. So how can you say that you're not okay, and tell the world that you're feeling blue? Let me take you by the hand along the streets of Little England. I'll show you someone who's fucked up more than you. In the sports and TV bar at 11:15, same old geezer sitting reading through the local rags. Bought the bar from his mate Jim, really thought he was quitting. Didn't spank and on spending nights alone with just his fags. So how can you say that you're not okay, and tell the world that you're feeling blue? Let me take you by the hand along the streets of Little England. I'll show you someone who's taller than you. Have you seen the prostitutes standing by the roundabouts? Hot pants and high heel boots and makeup overdone. I wonder what their family knows. I wonder what their future holds. I wonder what they'll have to do to pay their rented room. So how can you say that you're not okay, and say for you that the sun don't shine? Let me take you by